Hi guys, we're going to do 6 quick fire tips in Fusion. Let's get to it. We go to the Fusion page. Let's quickly make a bit of an animation. Bring in the background node. Connect the rectangle mask to the background node. Let's color the background node red. Let's make it a single view. And I want this rectangle to move from outer here down to the center of the frame. So I can just go here and put the transform node in there. Then let's go to frame 25, keyframe center, then go to frame 0 and drag this out of the frame. If we play this back, it's just so. If we want to make it smooth, we click on transform, open Spline Editor. On these 3 dots here, if I click on it, make sure you click show only selected. This makes it that when whatever node you have selected is the one that is highlighted on the Spline Editor. I need to tick the particular item within the node that I want to adjust. Then click zoom to fit. Then I can just click on this to select all the keyframes and this to smoothen it out. If you play this back, it's kind of smooth. If you want to make it even smoother, you can just select all the keyframes again, right click on it. You see ease here. Then you can just go to, let's say, out cubic. If I play this, you see that it changes the curve. And if I play this, so you don't have to be adjusting the keyframes yourself. Let's move on to the next item. That's keyframes. If I open the Keyframe Editor, this was the most confusing part of Fusion for me at one point. But then I discovered this fantastic button here, which is zoom to fit. If I click on zoom to fit, it expands it to the right size so I can see the frames. Then you can't see any point in here, but you have to now click on this drop down to see the keyframes. It is easier to adjust the position of your keyframes in the Keyframe Editor than it is on the Spline Editor. Then you can just drag this down and all that. And that's what's possible in the keyframe editor. You can extend the keyframe. Then you can also just, if I have a bunch of keyframes, a long string of them, multiple keyframes, I can select all the keyframes, click on this, then you create this bounding box, and I can go here and drag it and compress all the keyframes together at once. Okay, that's that for keyframes. Then on to the next tip. So the next tip is for 3D. So I'm just going to disconnect media out and put this here. Let's bring a shape 3D and drag that to the viewer. Okay, this is an image plane, sorry. This image plane now, let's assume I adjust this. To adjust your view on 3D, you hold down Alt and your middle mouse button, then you drag it around to the view. Let's assume I want this kind of view on my renderer 3D. Let's say I bring a renderer 3D here, and I bring a merge node here. And I connect this to the merge node and connect the merge node to renderer 3D. Let's make it a dual viewer. Let's put this image plane on the left view and renderer 3D on the right view. Now, if I want this particular view, let's go to merge 3D. Let me adjust the view to what I want. Zoom in a bit, drag it like this. Let's say I want the renderer 3D to show this exact view. I make sure that the merge 3D is highlighted, and I drag the camera 3D onto this view, and bam, we have that in the renderer 3D. Let's assume I click on image plane, I put image plane here, and I adjust the way image plane looks. Let's say I move it like this, and I decide image plane is selected, and I click on the camera 3D, and I drag it into the view. It does the same thing, or it automatically creates a merge 3D node. All right. So these are just basic ways to move things around. Whenever you now create the merge 3D, you find that the view here shows camera 3D. To change it back, just right click on it and click on perspective. So now you now have the regular merge 3D perspective. If I now want to animate this camera, let's assume I go to this camera 3D, go to transform. Let me delete this first one. Then click on camera 3D. I click on these keyframes here. For this particular position, let's say I go to frame 0 now. I now want to adjust this. Remember that I changed this to perspective earlier on. So if I move it around, it won't adjust the camera. So if I hold down Alt and I move it around a bit, and I do this, I can right click on this view and go to camera. Now go to copy POV to camera 3D2. Bam. If I go to this camera now, we see it has already picked this keyframe. So if I play this back, watch render 3D node here, you see this view. So you don't have to do much. I can now go to Spline Editor, go to zoom to fit, select all the keyframes, and click on smooth. You can right click on it. Remember we said ease, you can just ease out cubic and close Spline Editor, then play. See, you just have a smooth thing here. Smooth camera movement done easily. Tip done. Okay, so now let's say we have this now. We connect this to media out, right? We go to the edit page and we play it back. Because this is a simple animation, it's pretty straightforward. It plays back easily. But there are some times when it doesn't play back easily. We go to playback, we go to render cache, we enable smart cache, so we just wait for it to render. But there are instances where it just takes too long and we don't want to go through all that process. You can right click on this and say render in place. Then you specify all these settings. I'm just going to leave this at default for now and say render. I want to pick a location and select folder, and that is done. So it finishes rendering the comp. So you will see this render. We now find out that, oh my God, the animation is not so good. Why didn't I just duplicate the fusion comp before I rendered it? Guess what? You can decompose this back to the original fusion clip. Right click on it, decompose to original. Click on it and bam, you're back to the original fusion comp. You can go back to fusion page and re-edit it. Fantastic, nah? Fantastic. Next tip is the knowledge sources for Blackmagic. Most of what I teach on this channel, I read from the manual for Blackmagic. You can go here under your Davinci Resolve, you see Davinci Resolve reference manual. And if you click on Davinci Resolve training, it's going to take you to a web page that's going to come up on this page right now. Okay, so Davinci Resolve is it's actually the best editing software that is well documented. The training resources are free, made available by Blackmagic. It's just amazing. You take your time to look through it. You'd be running Davinci Resolve like a pro in no time. Hope you had fun on this one. I had fun. Take care, guys, and cheers. Bye.